Hello, today we're going to install Microsoft Windows Server 2016 Essentials uh, on Workstation 15.5 Pro. It's going to be a virtual server, so we're going to proceed with the installation now. So what we want to do is we want to create a new virtual machine right now. Well, we can do the two separate installations. We can do a typical or a custom, which requires different configurations, but we're going to go with the typical for now in this lesson. So let's click next. What we want to do now is load the ISO file, which is the Windows Server Essentials OEM 64 file, and we're going to proceed by naming it Saturn. We're going to personalize it, full name. We're going to set a password, which we're going to use later on. So there we go. We don't have the product key because this is a trial version for evaluation purposes, and we're going to click next. So this is what we're going to do. Now you can call your Windows virtual machine anything you want. So we're going to do Win2K 16. I like to put the E as for essentials. Now I'm going to install this in my drive that has the virtual lab file already set up. So I'm going to install it here in the virtual lab November. So let's do that. So this is what you see here. The virtual machine name and the location where the virtual machine will be installed. Click next. What we want to do here is we want to store the virtual disk as a single file. We don't want to split the disk right now. Now usually you can dedicate more than 60 gig. You can go up to whatever size disk you have. For evaluation purposes, I like to stick at the 50 gig mark. And I can go even lower because we're just doing basically an installation, so I can even, normally I would stay with a standard Windows server that's running. I would probably leave it at 80 gigabyte to start and upwards, depending what you want to do with the server. But we're gonna leave it at 45 for the eval purposes, so let's do that. Now we can customize our hardware here, virtual hardware. What I like to do is I like to raise this to about 4 gigs processors. Well, depending what hardware you're running. See here, these options are all available to me because I do have the virtualization hardware on my system board. So we're going to click this, the virtualization engine. Number of processors, I'm going to put one. I can go up to 8 cores, but I'm going to use 2 cores with the hardware I have. Network adapter is set to network attached translation. So this is what we're going to do. The rest is pretty much standard, and we're not going to play around with the virtual stuff too much right now. You can add stuff, remove stuff. So we're just going to set it up that way. Leave it like that and click finish. So this is it, basically what you get. Now we can power on our virtual machine to install the software. And here's the boot manager. We're going to click in the window and hit enter. It's now loading the files to install Windows Server 2016 Essentials. And we're going to wait. It won't be too long to proceed to the Windows installation. I'm just going to walk over a few steps with you, and we're going to pause when the installation is actually happening and come back to it when it's almost terminated. So this is what you get. We're installing Windows Server 2016 Essentials. The architecture is x64. And basically you can read the description. This option is useful when a GUI is required, and pretty much everything is more simpler with a graphical user interface. So we're going to click next. Yes. So the Windows is proceeding with the installation, getting the files ready for installation, and I'm going to pause this now and I'm going to come back when we're ready to move forward. Welcome back, people. We're now at the phase that the installation has rebooted, and it's getting ready to proceed to the following step of the installation. So give us a few minutes here and we should be Windows should be appearing to continue moving forward to setting up Windows Server 2016 Essentials. Okay, there we go. So we see here the Windows is still continuing. The VMware is installing VMware tools. This is important. For any of you that are using the virtualization software, the tools are important to be installed. Okay, so this is what you get. The computer is restarting. Once you install the VMware tools, it does that, so we're going to have to log back in to proceed to the Windows Server 2016 setup. Give us a second. We should be back to full setup mode. And there we go. Okay. So this is basically your login screen, and we're going to log in. This is our user, admin user, so we're going to enter our password, and we're logging in. Okay, so we're now in Windows 2016 Server Essentials, and the server is starting the configuration for the Essentials part of the server. Now we can, cancel this and come back to it later. But I'm just going to show you. We're going to go to Server Manager, and this will show you that nothing is set up right now. This is our information pane, and as you can see, it's a clean install, so nothing's really set up. You see the computer name hasn't changed. We're going to work on that later. It's not a member of a domain, it's a work group. Okay, your firewall is that. We're going to set static IPs later on. Hardware information, as you can see, VMware is running this, the virtualization. The operating system is Microsoft Windows Server 2016 Essentials. And on this side is we have never done updates. The install updates, we haven't done that. We haven't done that either. Windows Defender is on. Feedback, you can change the settings later on. As you can see, the time zone is here. The product's not activated because it's an evaluation product. And the processor that we're running is an iCore 7 CPU, 3.4 gigahertz, and the RAM installed is the 4 gig. This is the 4 gig that we used in our virtualization hardware setup, and the disk space that we gave it was 60, I believe it was 50 gig. I don't remember. We can go back and look at that later. So that's pretty much it. And you see here in the post-deployment configuration, we can go and configure Windows Server Essentials by going back to this window here. So that's going to be our next lesson, is how to configure Windows Server Essentials. Thank you for watching, and come back and watch the next configuration step, which will be in changing the server name, also giving the server a static IP, and creating an Active Directory domain services server. And we'll do that in the next lesson. Thanks for watching.